Hello everybody, and welcome to Season 4 of the NPBA Draft Analysis for the Portland Pillars. Now, the NPBA is a National Dex format with cut moves outside of Pursuit and Hidden Power. So that means moves like Signal Beam, etc. are allowed, but otherwise it's National Dex format. And let's just hop right into the team, I think. Moment. Alright, so starting off our draft, we were spot 11th, I believe. We were 10 or 11th. Also, sorry for any cuts in conversation. I have a bit of a cough. And we decided to pick up, in round 1, Corviknight. Now, Corviknight is a fantastic Pokemon. Very similar to Skarmory. Flying Steel, bulky, and has access to Body Press. Kind of slow, but otherwise it's got some nice stats around the board. But what sets it apart from Corviknight is that it's got a higher HP pool. Now that doesn't seem like that's all that important, but how it actually works out with special defense, typically Corviknight can take a hit or two more than Skarmory can and not get KO'd by special moves, even some that are super effective. And that's a massive for a Mon that's defensive, defogging, meant to kind of glue the team together. And that's kind of what I set up the team around, right? I wanted Corviknight to kind of be a glue for our team that we could draft from there. Very safe pick, round 1. Not a whole lot of power. We were in spot 10th or 11th, and we didn't have a double pick. So I wanted to pick something that I could build a team off of going forward, right? Didn't have access to Shifu Single or the Dragapults of the world. And so yeah, that's pretty much what Corviknight's here for. U-turn, fantastic. And then the pick got back to us. Obviously, we don't have access to Dragapult, but next best thing, honestly, is Latios. Latios is fast at 110 with a monstrous 130 special attack, dropping Draco Meteors. It's going to be an amazing Pokemon, likely going to be Spexed or Scarfed, but doesn't have to be. Got, like I said, the wonderful special attack of 130. Special defense respectable at 110. Enough HP to make use of it. And then just respectable stats across the board. The only thing that sucks is that its attack is 90, which means that foul plays are doing more than you'd like to it, but it's a wonderful Mon. Nothing too much to say. Immune to ground. Fantastic. Just going to be here to punch holes into our opponent's team. Self-explanatory. Alright, and then we have Glisicor. I had not originally intended to draft Glisicor, but it was around in round 3 when it got back to me. And I originally wanted Zygarde in the slot. But Zygarde had already, unfortunately, been taken, Zygarde 50. And so I was like, oh, it's here. It kind of does what I need. I need a ground type. It's also immune to ground, which is nice. Can U-turn around as well, you know. Play off of Corviknight and just make for some generally good plays. Respectable HP with a really high defense of 125. Special defense of 75, which isn't anything to laugh at either. Especially off of 75 HP. Not great, but not the worst. And in a way is pseudo regenerator because it has poison heal, which whenever it comes in, it's getting, I think, a 12% heal every turn, which is fantastic. Between that and Roost, you're recovering 62% a turn. So we make a lot of Mons very hard to break through Glisicor. On top of its 95 HP, it's fantastic. Not HP, 95 speed, it's fantastic. Wonderful Mon. Surprised it got back to me. Haven't used it a whole lot before, but I always see it put out good results, and I'm excited to use it this time around. After an SD, you know, it even has potential to sweep, so it's a really versatile Mon. U-turn again, picking up a Volt Turn Core. Fantastic. Now we have Alomomola. And we wanted Alomomola, not because we really wanted Alomomola, so to say, but Bulky Waters had been going really quick into round 4. I believe between Glisicor and Alomomola being picked. We had lost all the slows. We lost Toxapex. Vaporeon, I even think, was gone. Which left Alomomola. And I was very happy to get Alomomola because it's got Regenerator, right? And we have a very strong U-turn core starting to form, right? And it's got a monstrous HP stat of 165, making its wishes that it's going to be throwing out monstrous. And that's fantastic. That means it's going to be mostly healing up Glisicor, Corviknight, Latios. Anything that's getting hit by a wish is getting hit by a massive wish so far. Its offensive stats are kind of bad. Its defense is respectable, really good with its high HP stat, but special defense kind of falters, right? But hopefully Corviknight and Glisicor can kind of pick that up for it. And we're just going to be using it to wish, spread Scald, spread Toxics, kind of just use it as another glue Pokemon. And right now, we really only have one offensive threat, and we're starting to develop an ice weakness. Alomomola has the defense to ice, it resists being a water type, but doesn't really, not truly, because a lot of Pokemon will have access to freeze dry, and a strong freeze dry is going to rip through Alomomola and its low special defense. And so our next pick aimed to remedy this, right? And that's Incineroar. Fantastic Pokemon. I almost always see this get picked up in draft, at least somewhere. Fire Dark, gives us a Dark type immunity to Psychic. Fire, which gives us a strong resist to the Ice. And we're already pretty good against Ground, as is, with the rest of our team. I believe it gets access to U-turn. I know it gets access to Parting Shot, so it's another Volt Turner. And with an HP of 95, special defense of 90, and defense of 90, it's going to be really good. It's going to love playing around with Alomomola. Alomomola's wishes give Incineroar such recovery that it normally does not have. That will actually allow it to likely be able to come in multiple times during the game. It's kind of forced into heavy-duty boots if your team doesn't get rid of hazards very easily, which we kind of are now, but not 100%. Don't really want to run Defog on Latios, but Glisicor and Corviknight very easily can. And with a 115 attack, that's shoring up our offensive side, because right now our really only offensive mon is Latios. Glisicor can kinda, Corviknight can kinda, Alomomola relies on status. So this mon just, with its Intimidate, going to be coming in and out, Parting Shot, going to be shoring up Alomomola. Fantastic, honestly. I couldn't have hoped for a better mon. Now we have Mega Beedrill, and our fastest Pokemon up until this point is when I started really planning the draft out, is Latios at 110, which really isn't the fastest. I mean, it's fast, don't get me wrong, it's on the upper end for sure, but there will be faster Pokemon drafted. And like I said, our offensive on the physical side was a bit lacking, and so picking up one of the biggest glass cannons, super high speed stats, super high attack, boosted by adaptability on its stabs, from 1.5 stab to 2 times. This Pokemon will likely be picking up KOs. Another U-turner, making our Volt Turn core very strong, and that does not stop being a thing further into the draft. Spoiler alert. For only 12 points, fantastic pickup. Just will punch holes in the opponent's team. That being said, though, it's incredibly frail. Need to be very, very careful how I position with this mon, so it needs to have a really strong turn core with it so that we can minimize our risks on what it's coming in on. Because even a Sucker Punch will almost kill this from any strong mon. Definitely Urshifu. I believe the calc is Urshifu always kills with a Sucker Punch. It's not good. So, even though it's incredibly powerful, helps bolster us against fairy types with its poison jab. Bit frail, but I think our team right now can support it very well, and I really like this pick here. I'm very excited to see what Mega Beedrill does going forward here, and I am excited to be using this Pokemon. Next up is Comfey. Much like Alomomola, wanted a little bit... Well, first off, we needed a fairy type, right? And I originally wanted this to be Florges, but then we already had a Alomomola, and Florges got picked up. And Comfey was the next best thing. With Natural Cure, fantastic. Triage, amazing, giving it priority on its healing moves. Respectable defensive stats, with only a little bit low on the HP side, but that can be invested into. 100 base speed. This mon has a lot of nice stuff going for it. And it has another Pokemon with access to U-turn. Gives us our aromatherapy, our heal bell that we desperately need. And it's just pretty good across the board. No complaints about Comfey. It's another defogger. Does a lot for the team. It kind of builds around our bulky-ish core that switches to really hard-hitting offensive threats that when they're in want to be claiming a soul every time, and that's how we're going to try to get this done. Comfey will be coming in, taking something, U-turning out, and then hopefully bringing in Latios or Beedrill safely and just punching another hole in our opponent's team. So it's fantastic. Now this is a bit of a weird pick. In round 8, Kartana was still there. One of the few high-powered mons that had not been drafted, and that really surprised me. Kartana's got a monstrous 181 special attack, not special attack, 181 attack. Just incredible. On top of a 109 speed, just an amazing Pokemon all around. One of the better counters to it in Latios is on our team already, being 1 point faster, so don't have to worry about that. Oh, sorry, coughs. But this is another Pokemon that, once again, when it comes in, will likely just claim a soul, right? Much like Beedrill or Latios. A little bit of an iffy pick, as this left my team very low on points, going into round 9 through 11. But I was pretty alright with it. We needed a rock resist, and Kartana is surprisingly tanky on the defensive end, as you can see from our graph here. Very similar to the Toxapex, actually. You know, because you're like, oh, Kartana is very frail. Yeah, it's very frail on the special defensive side with only 31 on a sub 60 HP. But defensively wise, this thing can still take a hit or two, and if it comes in with a Wish again, it might be able to take another hit or two as well. And with Beast Boost, this is a Pokemon that can just be like, well, do you have the answer to it? As it's going to be boosting its attack or speed even higher, and if not, then I just win on the spot. It's kind of the idea of my team, which is getting my opponent to a point where, can you answer this anymore? No, I win. And that's kind of what we want here. We already have a lot of fire resists. It supports Kartana very well, and even though I think it's a weird pick so late into the draft, and there is other mons I could have picked up, something just kept bringing me back to it, and I think my gut feeling might be correct. We'll see how this plays out. 70 points, very expensive, but hopefully it'll work out. Now, for 4 points, this was amazing. Used Rotom-Frost in another league and got second with it. Very weak to a lot of common stabs, right? Due to being Electric Ice, but it has access to Levitate. Good defensive stats, 50 HP, make pin splits very hard to deal with, and at an 86 speed can be scarfed very easily for Blizzard, while being 70% accurate is a bit iffy. If it does hit, it will just kill what it needs to kill a lot of the time, and likely won't die on the backswing even if it misses, so it can go for another one. Volt Switch, another Volt Turner, just fantastic for the team. At 4 points, it was a steal. I had planned to draft this spawn from the very beginning, specifically so that I could be a little bit greedier on my higher end mons and get away with a Rotom that is at low points. And I think for 4, it's definitely underpriced. Don't think it should be like 8 or anything, but maybe 6, 5, somewhere in there. Just allowed me to use an extra couple points and push for some really high-powered Pokemon. And it's another defire. It just does a lot for the team. I like it a lot here. Now, we had 6 points left going into round 10. We had to draft 11 Pokemon. I wanted to pick up Shuckle for 4 points, but it got picked up, I think, literally right before it got to me. And the next best thing is Smeargle. It'll be coming in and winging and judgmenting everybody, I'm sure. But realistically, it's going to be a Sticky Webs, Spore. It's kind of support Pokemon. Another hazard setter. We needed some more hazards on the team. Really weak stats all around. Can't do anything, even though it has access to some of the craziest moves in the game. With a respectable enough speed of 75, really just going to be hoping, praying to get a Spore off, Sashed, maybe Mental Herb, and setting up webs and hopefully keeping them up is the idea, right? And Pokemon like Incineroar will really appreciate webs if it's going offensive. Just kind of a catch-all Pokemon for 3 points. Pretty nice. I don't know what else I would have picked up. So, just kind of ended up throwing it onto the team. Nothing bad about the Pokemon at all. Just kind of be easy to deal with depending on the opponent's setup. Bit predictable. Obviously, it's only ever going to spread status or hazards. But otherwise, pretty good Pokemon. Alright, lastly we have Torterra. Oh, 13 points. That should say 3. Imagine that 13 there is a 3. Maybe we'll cut that in post. But definitely not 13 points. It was only 3 points. Torterra. What can I say about Torterra? Its stats make it seem like maybe it should be like a 13-ish point Pokemon, but it's just so slow. And a lot of common offensive types. It's a grass that isn't resistant to water. It's really here just because it was a stealth rocker and our team needed the hazards. It's a ground type, another electric immune. A rock resist, I believe. And just kind of need that overall. I don't know when I'll take it in. I'm sure I'll take it in at some point, right? After all, it is kind of bulky with a respectable 109 attack. It's just kind of here to throw out some stealth rocks every once in a while, have a good matchup. If it's like something like Mega Swampert was in the draft, then be pretty good against that. But otherwise, you know, another 4 times a week to ice Pokemon. Really here just for the stealth rocks. And here's the team overall. So, as you can see, we have a bit of a weakness to rock. Like I said, Torterra was here to help shore that up. Really, it's only Torterra and Kartana sitting in the way of Stone Edge and the end of our team. But we have a really strong Volt turn core. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Mon of our 11 being able to do it. And the ones that aren't are the ones that we want to turn into anyways, typically to come in and pick up a kill. They don't want to be switching out, they want to be killing something. So just fantastic. We have 4 setters. Glisicor is going to be our main one. Smeargle is probably going to be secondary. I don't see myself ever setting up Toxic Spikes on Mega Beedrill, except for maybe on a really hard, crazy read. Tons of defog. Most of our defensive mons have access to it. Kartana has access to it for some reason. And just good support around the board. As you can see, our average speed down there is only 88, but the mons that are fast, and the ones that are slow feel speed. And outside that, just really good coverage across the board. We're a little bit weak to fire as well, but between Incineroar and Alomomola, I really don't fear that too much. So hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me. But I'm really enjoying this team overall. I'm looking forward to going in with it. A lot of mons I haven't used. I don't think I've used most of these Pokemon outside of Rotom-Frost and Incineroar. I'm really looking forward to it, honestly. But, anything else to say? Well, I don't think so. I'm looking forward to being in here in the Johto division and seeing what all my opponents have to offer. We finished second last season. Lost it to a coin flip at the very end. It was exactly 50-50 chance to kill and promote to Kanto, but hopefully with this team again, we'll be able to re-emulate that success and come out on first this time around. And thank you all for watching, and I'll see you, hopefully, with the Week 1 battle next week. I'm hoping to get every battle on here and recorded this time around. Alright. And then I will catch you all, hopefully, then.